Yeah, there's always one camera that's acting up. So name change, take one. Yeah, so gonna do my ceremonial drinking of water before the show.
Can we still get
And that, as much as anything else, led to my drinking problem.
Hello, and welcome to Modern Faith Unlimited. I'm aboard William Henley.
And I'm a supremely bored William Quinn.
Today on Modern Faith Unlimited, name changes and branding. Sometimes you just got to do it. Hello and welcome to Modern Faith Unlimited. I'm William Henley.
And I'm William Quinn. Mr. Henley, let's get rolling on the ball again.
Yeah, it feels good to be back in the home studio, and the last few episodes were filmed on the road.
Which were a very, very big challenge.
Yes, they were. Don't realize how much equipment you have until you have to set everything up and tear it back down. 4 hours of setup, 4 hours of tear down. And today we're discussing branding and peddling some merch here. LTTstore.com.
LTTstore.com, buy a shirt.
LiveandPay.com. Wait, this isn't our merch. But we are covering branding today. Like my manly water bottle. Yes. Designed by an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old girl.
So the only way to get it is to go to liveandpay.com and
buy one of them.
And, you know, we got Rhema Bible Church.
From Kenneth Hagin Ministries and Rhema Bible Church in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
We got Daystar Network.
Today's generation makes Daystar their home for faith television.
Gateway.
I know that you are always up to something good.
By the way, click on the thumbs up icon and click on subscribe and click on the bell icon so you'll get notifications of whenever we post new content.
make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Let's go ahead and talk about the name change right quick. Personally, I was okay with the Two Williams podcast. I mean, but I can understand why you want the name change. So let's dig deep into that right quick.
Well, it was a good name. I liked it. The problem is it wasn't really descriptive of what the channel was.
Sure.
And so, hey, if you know us, what a cute name, Two Williams. It sounds great. If you don't know us, what's that going to tell you about our show?
Sure.
And the idea is how wide do we want to grow the audience? And we needed something that would be good for branding, something that would be descriptive of who and what we are. Mm-hmm. We're both called into ministry. We may get called into separate directions. I mean, and if one of us wants to continue the show and needs to replace the other person.
Yeah.
So
it wouldn't be the Two Williams podcast anymore. It'd be something completely different. We just have to do that. So.
Yeah. Well. Last episode I shot may not be the last episode you saw because we're not posting stuff in order anymore. But I shot an interview with my friend Vitaly, and Quinn couldn't be here that day. So
yeah,
which
is perfectly fine. I mean, sometimes time conflictions and time constraints. I can't do everything. So if he can do it, more power to him. Hope maybe one day I'll have a guest on that he can't be around. So. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it, it's things happen. As long as we get a show out, I'm cool with it,
Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes down to it, the end of the day is we are really discussing how, as Christians, we incorporate our faith into our life nowadays. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at some of the past episodes of the Two Williams podcast, we're talking about spirits and demons. We're talking about social media. I mean, we're talking about how to incorporate our faith into our modern lives. And Modern Faith Unlimited, it fit. Now, people's like, oh, well, that name's kind of long. Couldn't you have gone with something shorter? Let me tell you, this day and age, it is hard to find a name on the internet that's not already taken.
Yep. And we did look into that. So we try to make it as short as possible so it would be to the point, but it wasn't just Christian people podcasts that took those. It was like Islamic podcasts, Buddhist podcasts, anything, a lot of other Christian podcasts.
Yeah, like I think like something like Modern Faith or something like that. It was I think it was Modern Faith now that I think of it, but it was one of those. It was Islamic. What was the one that you came up with that was the Italian rock band?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I cannot remember. It was so long ago. It was like
I loved it. He came up with one, and I loved it. And I'm like, good. The URL's not taken. It's available on YouTube. It's it's taken on Facebook, and I went to go check it out. And it was. I mean, they're not a big rock group, but I mean, they had followings in Switzerland, France, and Italy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have risked it. You know, I mean,
yeah.
But I do like. But you know what? I give you credit for finding Modern Faith Unlimited. You know, it's ours. Nobody else has it, so we're good to go. I don't know when we can quote unquote get it permanently copyrighted by us. That'd be great. We just don't have the budget right now to do that. But you know, just something we can look at in the future. You know,
trademark office, yeah,
right.
But hey, we have the URL, we have the YouTube channels, we have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I mean, I think we're good.
Cool. I think we're good too. I think this is a name we can definitely build on, you know, for the future. I think looking into it, I did find some verses. I did find one verse.
I'll tell you one of the things that I realize is really important for future episodes, and we've done it in past episodes, but didn't do it today. It really helps to have a show document.
Yeah. I did find a verse. It's in Ephesians 3:19, and it states, "May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you'll be made complete with the fullness of life and the power that comes from God."
Good verse, yeah. This is going to be mostly an update episode. So, a determination I've had to make is that episodes are not necessarily going to be going up in the order that we film them. And that's especially going to be true when we have guests, because they may need to be edited differently. And I actually have an episode that I've been working on this one episode for 3.5 weeks now.
I know which episode he's talking about too.
The video. It was along the lines of, I'm going to turn off the chroma key right here. We got a green screen, and it helps. That's another thing. We're not in the barn anymore. And it went to the point where I got sick of looking for backdrops that looked good. And I'm like, okay, $30 for this backdrop. It doesn't look good. $30 for that one. $10 for a green screen. Hey! Well, the first time we used the green screen, it was not properly lit. It led to noise in the video. Then we had trouble with the mics with our guest. So it's like everything in that episode has to be cleaned up. And I have had some people come to me and it's like, oh, well, we've seen the stuff you have on YouTube. It's fine. And I'm like, yeah, the stuff on YouTube's edited. And then I actually showed them the raw video and they're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, no, don't put that up. Don't put that up.
That's why there's such a thing as editing. I mean, he's great at editing. I've seen his stuff. Not just this podcast, but he's done a lot of great stuff also. So.
Oh, hey, so this is probably going to be one of the first episodes up. So upcoming on future episodes, we have an interview with Katy Kinard coming up. And that was a lot of fun to shoot. We were having gear issues that day, so there is going to be some editing with that. Not as much as the episode I'm working on. Then I shot an interview with Russian missionary Vitaly Agrodnikov. Agrodnikov. I said, when I'm looking at it, I can pronounce it. But I do know my friend's name. It's just that with it not being a common name, I had to slow down and think about it. Then we have part 2 of the video with
Jolene Kinard again.
Jolene, yeah. Yeah, and that may actually end up being the last of the interviewed videos to go up because it's the one that has the most editing to do on it.
Yeah.
And that was, I got in a hurry. Because it took us longer to set up than I thought. Our guests were waiting, and finally we were like, we just got to start shooting, and because of that.
So, basically, the bottom line of this story is, as far as this podcast goes, I know we do have people that listen to this and are wanting episodes. All of us have to have patience. We're just starting to get into this. We're only like 10 episodes in, and we're still learning a lot of things as far as doing podcasts and doing audio and video. So,
every single episode, it's like, okay, we're going to do this, change this next time. So every single episode, there's something new. That we got new mics because in moving our equipment, we're thinking, we are not positive, but we're thinking that something may have gotten broke, and I'm not sure if it's the cables or if it's the mics. But right now we got new mics and we got new cables, and I'll test out the old mics. I've had a camera get broke. In the video I filmed with Katy, one of the cameras has to have significant cleanup because it's an older camera, and it didn't do well with these lights. But yeah, every single episode we learn something new.
yeah, and every episode we always have a challenge. But you know what? Patience is a virtue. I was looking up a verse on that, and I got Galatians 6:9, which says, "Let's not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up."
Oh, that's good. That was Paul's first letter there, the letter to the church in Galatia. That was written before they... A bit of history. The book of Galatians was written before the council in Jerusalem, where they determined the people who were coming to Christ, who were not Jews, what rules they had to keep and stuff like that. Part of the book of Galatians is actually Paul making an appeal. But the church in Galatia was mostly Gentiles. And... So yeah, he's both giving encouragement to the people there, and I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. Patience.
That's actually not off topic. I thought that was explaining the verse.
Yeah. Oh, and here's something else. Speaking of patience, Paul was high up in the Sanhedrin.
Right.
He was given permission to literally kill the Christians. When he converted to Christianity, a lot of people don't realize this, but there was 15 years between him on the road to Damascus and when he set out with Barnabas to go to Cyprus.
That was his first missionary journey?
That was his first missionary journey. There was 15 years of Paul studying underneath the apostles.
That would take patience. I think a lot of people, waiting 15 years to do that, I would be like itching in my head right now. All the excitement that I would have, wanting to get out and, reach people, waiting 15 years would be tough.
Yeah. I'm not going to go much into my story on this episode, but I was called into ministry in 1996. It was 2012 before God told me what that was going to be. It was 2016 before I entered seminary. And I am still not where God has called me to be. It is 23 years as of today's recording date of when I was first called.
My story is very similar. I was called in ministry. I got that calling from God in 1995 when I was before I went back to school full time. and it was pretty much the same road for me. I was 95, and then just started going to Gateway, and then it was.
You were going to Gateway in '95.
Well, I wasn't going to Gateway in '95, but I was going to church in '95. When I was at Gateway, I was going to Gateway for 3 years, and then when they made the announcement of King's University coming here, that's when everything changed. Because I thought getting a master's degree was out of the question, because I just got rejected from another school, and then I just felt contempt. I'll just read the Bible and do that. But then when they announced the TKU coming, door open.
And I had looked at another seminary before TKU, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to drag the seminary through the mud, but I am going to mention it because it is hot news. Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary was had at its helm a guy by the name of Paige Patterson. He was kind of brought in because he was kind of old school, and a lot of the schools were getting really, really liberal at the time. But the whole idea is that they wanted someone who was going to be fundamental and hardcore. The problem with Paige Patterson is he was too fundamental. It was to the point where he did not allow women professors to teach men. He actually had an issue against ordaining women. Okay, you could argue that from a biblical perspective. I think the people who go by that are taking the verse out of context. We may discuss that on some future episode. But, this was an issue. But, man, at the end of the day, I met the guy. And when I was looking at going to Southwestern, and the guy was just a jerk. It was a holier than thou attitude. Oh, I asked him. I said,
"Are you sure they didn't get him from they didn't get him from one of those street preachers from that preach outside the church all the time?
Yeah.
It sounds like one of those guys.
Yeah. We got in DFW. We got this guy who goes around to the different mega churches, not just Gateway. He'll go to Prestonwood,
Milestone. I've seen him at Milestone.
Yeah, he'll go to Milestone. He's been out here. There is
Wisdom Center. He's been on
Wisdom Center. That's it. Wisdom Center. Word of Faith. Where did I get that? Wisdom Center. Yeah. So I actually went to his YouTube channel one day, and he has like 80 subscribers, and then I found out that his church has like 12 people, and like half of those people is his family. And
sounds more like a cult to me,
Yeah. He actually, once again, not even going to link to this guy. He adopted 2 kids and sit down with the 10-year-old girl doing an interview with her, an interview with the girl he had just adopted, basically telling her about how horrible her life was with her mom. And then a week or 2 later, he houses her out in front of one of the campuses handing out pamphlets.
I want to get one of those pamphlets. Just see what it looks like. I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know if you heard about the other guy that goes around DFW, does that. He got arrested around Christmas time last year for saying Santa Claus wasn't real. It was all over.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. I won't bring his name up either. I know who it is, but I'm not going to bring his name up. I don't want to drag him.
Yeah.
Give him praise either, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think it's just a matter of giving people praise, but if you remember, and I just had to read a book on this. Okay, now the episode's trying to get rolling. I just had to read a book on this. It's called The Three Kings. I had to read it for my practicum. And
Tale of Three Kings?
Tale of Three Kings.
I have it at home.
Okay. So if you remember in this book, the main thing it talks about is no matter how bad Saul got, David would never speak out against Saul. The book goes on to say, you don't know who is the Lord's anointed and who's not. And you may be sitting here speaking out against what you think is a Saul, and it turns out the person's really a David. And the point I'm trying to make is that no matter how much you may disagree with what a person's speaking, you probably don't want to drag them out through the mud. And there's actually a story in the book of Acts about that. I'm sure you could find it out. But if this man is on his own, they will fail. But if these men are from God, you will not be able to stop them. And so I think someone like that, just kind of let them fall on their own.
The thing with those type of professed Christians, I'm not saying they're not saved or anything. I'm not going to question their salvation. But the thing is, when they do that, they use something we should never use as believers, and that's shame. They use shame so much. And God never, ever intended to live in shame. He never intended his children, people of God, to live in shame. And for someone to go anywhere and just try to point out to the children of God that they're being shamed, that's not Christ-like. It's not Christ-like at all. I mean, there might be some truth into what they say, but doing it with shame defeats the whole purpose of, trying to get people to the Lord. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily have an issue like with street preachers and stuff if they're actually doing it in like a loving way. Those people standing on the street corner, shouting fire and brimstone.
But they're always going to say that's their loving way. I've heard that too.
I've heard that. I'm kind of wondering how many people have been turned away from Christianity rather than to it because of some of that.
I don't even want to count. I bet you tons.
But, it's kind of like, be bold with your faith. Speak out, tell people about God. But just sitting here telling people that oh gosh, you're going to hell. It's like you don't even know the person. So name change.
Yeah.
We are Modern Faith Unlimited now, and you can follow us on Facebook at Modern Faith Unlimited. Follow us on Facebook at Modern Faith Unlimited. Yeah, I'd love there to be a faith book.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Facebook, and also if you're following us on social media, use the hashtag Modern Faith Unlimited, and then post it everywhere you can, so we can get the word out about the show.
Sure. By the way, as far as us always telling people to subscribe and
subscribe to my channel, give this video a big thumbs up.
There's a reason for this. First of all, it doesn't cost you any money. What a subscription is it. Whenever you go to like the YouTube homepage, it shows you content from the people you're subscribed to first. It kind of gets an idea of what type of content you want to see.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Comment down below what your favorite part of it was.
But more so than that, it shows YouTube that we're getting repeat viewers, and it shows YouTube that we're producing quality content. There's two things YouTube is about. As if you're a creator, a content creator, it's about subscribers and number of minutes watched. I've seen so many channels that are like, oh, I've got to get the subscribers. I got to get the subscribers. I got to get the blah 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 blah.
You gotta get the subscribers.
Yeah. And the thing is okay, great. You have 150 subscribers, and people have watched 50 minutes of your channel this month. Obviously, you're not producing quality content, and people's not coming back. actually, for the number of viewers we have pretty good view times. In the past month, and remember, we haven't put up an episode in 3 weeks. In the past month, people have watched 628 minutes of our show. And the episode with the Canopics, last I checked, we've had 94 views on it. So that makes it our highest rated episode yet.
Even though we had challenges editing it because of the situation, that's still, the subject matter, if it's a good subject matter, I think anything else will, will fall under that pretty much.
Yeah. Well, and if, as far as the podcast, I mean, first and foremost, the thing has to sound good. Because so many people are listening on earbuds. And if I'm sitting here, headphone listeners, beware. If we're sitting here doing this and you hear all of this in the audio, people's not going to come back. But, so, the audio has to sound good. But we are YouTube. It has to look good as well. Yeah, I get most people watch on a phone. I have a 115-inch screen in my living room, and I watch YouTube on that. There's quite a few channels and videos I've turned off that's like, oh, this sounds great, and you pull it up, and it's someone who has like a 20-year-old video camera and no good audio equipment and bad lighting, and you're like, can't even watch this. So, yeah, they're... it's not just, set up a webcam and go. People...
I'll say this at least. I can understand why he aims for quality in each episode we do. And I appreciate that. The hard work he's done for this podcast. I wish I could help him on that, but I mean, what he's done on this podcast, I appreciate. And, he's a godsend, I just want to do audio at first, but him stepping it up and trying to do more, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Welcome. And so, yeah, it has changed. I think our content is the same, just the way that we're presenting it is different.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to be it for today. So join us next time on Modern Faith Unlimited. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Thanks.